What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Myer Travels. And for those of you who may not know me, my name is Myer. I've been traveling the world for 2 years now. And finally, I've hit my goal of hitting 100,000 subscribers. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel, who's been supporting since the beginning. This one is for all of you. And we're going to just keep going. The next one will be gold, hopefully. But I've been getting a lot of requests about people asking, Mike, can you tell us more about travel vlogging? Can you tell us about traveling and making money? What does your life look like? How do you supplement your income? Can you make enough money traveling and vlogging? And does YouTube pay well? You know, a lot of questions for people who kind of want to live this travel life, get away from where they are, and be able to make money at the same time. And I'll tell you one thing, it's not easy. The last 2 years of my life have been some of the most hectic, crazy, but so fulfilled. Like, I feel so fulfilled over the last 2 years because I finally was able to live this dream that I was always hesitant to do. You know, I never thought I'd be able to travel the world and get paid for it and be able to just eat so many different foods, see so many different festivals, cultures, nature, just explore countries like Morocco, Ethiopia, you know, Tunisia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. Like, I just explored so much in these 2 years. I was able to travel to over 20 countries. And I think people's biggest concern is, how do you supplement your life? How do you make money? How do you make enough money to be able to do these things? Now, it's possible to make money, that's for sure. In the beginning, it's not easy. As I mentioned before, it's not easy by any means. You really have to love what you do. And that, I think, goes for anything that you want to do in your life. You have to love what you do. So as far as money is concerned, one of the sources is YouTube ad revenue. Now, in the beginning, when you first start making content, whether it be travel vlogging, whatever kind of content you decide to make, but this is specifically for travel vlogging, it's really tough. And I think for any content, making ad revenue in the beginning, when you're not monetized, obviously you're not making any ad revenue until you hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I don't know if YouTube changed those rules, but when I first started, those were the rules to become monetized. And you know, until you hit that, then you start making money. But do you make a lot? No. I mean, some of the first few months, there were months where I made $200 in a month. And obviously that's not enough to live. So my point that being said is basically you do need multiple streams of income. You need to find ways to make money aside from just YouTube ad revenue if you plan on traveling the world and also, you know, making money at the same time. I don't only rely on YouTube ad revenue. I also trade stocks, trade cryptocurrencies. Now that my channel has reached 100,000 subscribers, I'm able to leverage that to get sponsors. Obviously, in the beginning, sponsors and brand deals don't work until you have a little bit of a following. Now, with the 100K, I'm able to make money through sponsorships as well. So if you guys watch my videos, you might see that some of my videos are sponsored by several companies. It just depends on, you know, what the video is. But sponsors also is a good way to make money once you have the following. Basically, money has to come from different sources. So just to give you an idea, one of the best months that I had on YouTube till this day is I made a little bit probably close to $4,000, and that was my best month if we're talking just YouTube ad revenue. I'm not talking about super chats, super thanks, all of those like people giving me on PayPal or buy me a coffee. Those are other ways of also making income, but I'm talking strictly from ad revenue. That was one of my best months. Now, obviously, definition of making money, wealthy, being rich, those all differ from person to person, case to case. It is subjective, right? For me, I don't come from a lot of money. I don't ask anybody for money. I don't have a trust fund. Everything that I do is on my own. So when I started traveling, of course I had to make a lot of sacrifices. You know, I knew that I wasn't going to own a home in my 30s. I knew that I'm not going to be driving around a Mercedes and all of that, which I've had in the past. But I decided to sacrifice those things to be able to do what I love, which is travel. And obviously when you're constantly traveling, you know, it's tough to like settle down and form relationships and, you know, be able to have this group of friends that you're going to hang out with every weekend. That doesn't exist if you're living the life that I live or I've lived. Now, finally, after 2 years, I'm finding a balance. I have a woman that I love who I plan on marrying. I have a little bit of a, you know, settled down place. I have, I've found some balance between traveling and also having somewhat of a home life. But like I said, in the beginning when I first started, I was just like a vagabond, a traveling salesman. I didn't take any rest. It was constant moving. So you have to be prepared to make sacrifices. If you're someone who values, material things, then maybe that life is not for you. If you're someone who values experiences and being able to see the world, and you get excited about like new foods, new cultures, meeting new people, having new experiences, then I would say that you're more along the lines of being able to do this travel vlogging. And it's definitely a big sacrifice. So I don't want to sit here and sell you this dream that YouTubers are rich. I mean, some of them are, and it depends on, I guess, what lane you get into and how much time you've been doing it. Obviously, after 2 years, like I said, now I can use this to supplement my life. But in the beginning, if I didn't have any other ways of making income, you best believe I wouldn't be able to keep going. Also, when I'm traveling, I'm not staying at 5-star hotels or luxury resorts unless they sponsor me. But usually, I don't do hostels because I've upgraded myself from hostels. I tried that in the beginning. I'm not a fan of hostels. I don't like sleeping around 7 other dudes and having to share a room with 6 dirty people who throw their socks and underwear all over the place. I don't do that. But what I usually do is the countries that I travel to, hotels are not super expensive. So I'll find like a cheap hotel. And sometimes, it won't be the nicest hotel. I've slept in hotels that had bugs roaming around and that smelled really bad. And yeah, I've seen it all. So, obviously that's another sacrifice. So like, if you're someone who likes to travel fancy and stay at Four Seasons, again, if you're rich, you might be able to do that. But if you're someone who's coming from humble beginnings, starting vlogging and traveling, you might have to make that sacrifice and maybe stay at places that, you normally wouldn't, or, aren't the nicest. But like I said, if you love doing this, then you'll find the joy in other things. A hotel is just a place that I go at night to fall asleep. Most of the day I'm out vlogging, as you guys might see in my videos. I'm out vlogging, talking to people, going to different historical sites, eating different foods, and just kind of gathering all of my content. At night, I'll go to a cafe, sit down and work and get all of that footage edited so I can drop it on YouTube for you guys. And then late, I'll go home and finally lay on the bed. That's why the hotel never really matters to me anyway, but I'm just telling you guys everything so you know what happens behind the scenes. I'm someone who always has been a person that takes risks and is willing to take risks in life. I've never been afraid. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been into business. I grew up that way. So I would say that if you're someone that's afraid of taking risks, maybe you have to conjure up the courage to do it. It even took me time to conjure up the courage to be able to do this. But I'm saying, like, you do have to be somewhat of a risk taker to take this kind of like leap and just go and do something like this. So yeah, it definitely takes a certain kind of person to be able to just drop everything and drop all your comforts and just completely leave that and start a whole new life and hope that it works out. Obviously it took a lot of hard work to get here, but I say life is a lot of hard work, faith, and a little bit of luck, and thanks to you guys, I've been able to reach this point. And so I would say that, definitely have to be a certain kind of person and be willing to live a certain kind of life. I hope that answers some questions about like the money, what kind of life, the sacrifices you'll have to make. Also, I don't see my family that often, my mother, my father, my siblings. I talk to them on the phone, but I don't see them as often as I used to, obviously, when I lived with them or close to them. So, if you're someone who values that as well, which I do value, but at the same time, like, I wanted to live this life. So I knew that would be another compromise. So, these are just certain things that you have to keep in mind if you're thinking about traveling and living your life abroad and moving around like the way I do. I think to get further into the question of, is it possible to still travel vlog and make money? So specifically with travel vlogging as it's concerned, so when I got into it, it was about 2 years ago, and I've realized that over the past 2 years, the space has become very, I wouldn't say saturated completely. There's always avenues and niches that you could find within just any space, you know. Like, so for me, travel vlogging, I guess you could say bread and butter with travel vlogging is communicating with people. So if you watch a lot of my vlogs, I talk to locals. I love to try different coffee from different places. I talk about the history. I kind of give like a day in the life of being in a place as like a local. So I don't show like a tourist experience. I show like a experience of a local. So there's many different niches. You could be a cinematic vlogger, someone who shows like scenery and nature and landscape and things like that. Or you can be someone who goes more raw content. But I would say that the space has become very full. You know, there's a lot of people doing this now compared to even when I first started or even before then. So you definitely have to find your unique niche within the space if you want to stand out from the rest of the crowd. So I would definitely try to find what you're good at. So if you're good at speaking with people, or if you love to try different foods and you're good at explaining foods, or if you love nature, and there's so many different things that you could get into with traveling. Traveling is the broad subject, but then there's specific niches of it as well. So yeah, I would say find your niche with it if you wanted to get into travel vlogging. So it's still possible to make money from it and get into the space, but you definitely have to find a niche within the space. So that's something that I would definitely focus on. I guess the more broad question would be, is it still possible to travel and make money in 2024? And yes, I would say in this time that it's more possible than ever, because there's so many companies now that are offering remote work. So if it's not content, right? I was speaking before about being able to travel vlog or make content and make money. But there's a lot of people who aren't comfortable making content but still want to travel and fulfill their dream of traveling while still being able to make money. And that is totally possible. There's several different avenues that I can name off the top of my head that would be able to provide you this lifestyle. So I would say one that I know a lot of people that are doing now are traveling and working remotely. So there's a lot of companies, since the pandemic happened, there's a lot of companies that offer remote work. And you don't actually have to be in the office, but you have to sign in every day, and they don't mind if you're traveling around and you work while traveling. So that is definitely a possibility. You have to find a company, or certain jobs like software engineering. Those kind of jobs are very, very good for remote work. So if you're young and you're getting into college, or you want to get into a space that offers this kind of lifestyle, I would look into something like software engineering or any kind of like AI. These kind of jobs, a lot of them are remote work. So for someone who's looking to have a steady income and also be able to do it, I would say that's probably the best way. Another way that I could think of to travel and also make money would be if you have a business that doesn't require you to be there physically. So if it's online selling, if you're selling things online where you source products from a certain country and then sell them online, whether it be on Amazon or on Etsy or on, whatever eBay, whatever online platform you can use to sell products. That's not my forte, but there are a lot of people out there who can help you with that. But I'm just giving you ideas because I know there's a lot of people that want to make this move of traveling full time and being able to make money while doing it. Another way would be if you trade stocks. If you're a stock trader and you could do it online through any platform, anywhere you are. That's another way. That's opened up a lot of doors for people to be able to remotely work and make money and travel all over the world. So it's still possible. Actually, it's more possible now than it's ever been. So if that's your dream, you just got to find the way. I think people have to understand that when you really, really have a dream, you have to find the way you're going to do it and then execute. You cannot just be afraid to take the leap. It is going to be a risk. You are taking a risk. When I first started this journey, I was well prepared that if it didn't work out, I would have to go back home and start selling real estate as I was before. So, there's always a risk factor. But, it's like either you do it or you just look back 10 years, 15 years from now and regret that you never took the leap to do it. So, that's a decision that you have to make. So I've mentioned some of the sacrifices and maybe even the compromises and the cons, you could say, of living this life. But what are the pros? I mean, the pros, there's so much. First of all, I can be in any country I want and live there for a month basically, while making money and making content and showing you guys and enjoying every facet of the culture, the food and everything, and really soaking myself into that country and not having to worry about like, oh, I have a return flight where I have to go back after a week. And you don't really actually get to get the full experience of being in a place. So that's definitely one of the benefits. I get to see so much of the world. You know, I have traveled in my 30s. I'm in my early 30s, and I've traveled more than some people who are in their 60s, 70s, and I think that's such a blessing to be able to say that. And so I would say, yeah, that's definitely the biggest pro for me, to be able to do as much as I have in such a short amount of time. Another pro is living overseas, as opposed to, like, I'm speaking as an American again, living overseas. Most places are definitely cheaper, especially when it comes to like apartments and rent and food and these kind of things usually are cheaper than America. America, comparatively to the lifestyle that you get for what you pay, is so overpriced. You know, like even when I was living at home, I remember I was living in New Jersey, for those of you who might know, I was paying almost $2,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, really small, nothing special, not in a nice neighborhood. And it was just like, I wasn't happy, you know. And the food there in America is like usually processed, crappy food, unless you pay a lot of money, and still it's not that great. I mean, I live in Thailand now, and I eat amazing food every day. I eat organic food most of the time without even having to try and seek it out. My apartment cost me what, $700 total a month, which is like, you know, for what I get. Yeah, I would just say the lifestyle that you could live for the money that you make is so much more once you get out of America. Yeah, I don't know, it's like in America they get you stuck in this cycle of like, you make a lot, but you also basically spend all of it before the month is over, so you kind of just keep running on the hamster wheel. Whereas here, or if you decide to move overseas, you can make money and maybe save some and also really enjoy your life. I think that's one thing we forgot how to do in the West, is like enjoy your life. Enjoy these moments when you're 30, when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s, when you're in your 40s. In the West, we have this mentality of like work, don't enjoy, work until you're 65 and then you can enjoy. But who knows, you might be dead by that point, you know. So I would say start enjoying your life now, whether you're in your 20s or 30s. You can figure it out. There's always a way. You might have to, once again, you might have to lower your standards for things, but that's okay. Instead of driving the Mercedes, it's okay to drive a Toyota. It's not a big deal, you know. I mean, if instead of having the Chanel purse, maybe you have a, you know, I don't know what women like to wear, but you know, there's compromises that you can make where you can still have such a fruitful life, where you get to see so much, experience so much, and really at the end of your life maybe look back and be like, whoa, like I've really lived, as opposed to just like go through every day, go through the motions and kind of just like live this mundane life, which I was doing. Again, it's a matter of preference. This video is for people who are looking to travel and still make money while doing it. So that's who I'm speaking to. For those who are probably watching this video looking like, dude, I love my life. I live in America and I love my home. I love my settled base. And yeah, listen, kudos to you. If you find value in that and you find happiness and joy in that, and you can sit down at the end of the day and be like, oh, I've built what I wanted in my life, then great, good for you. I'm happy for you. But the goal of this video is to show people who are looking to do maybe what I do, or just travel and kind of live this life of being able to see the world while making money. But with that being said, guys, I hope that this video kind of gave you a background. There's so many questions that I've been getting over the last 2 years, which I don't think I've actually truly addressed. So this video should give you a good insight as to what my life is like, but also what this life of travel is like. Once again, it's not easy, there are sacrifices, but there's so many benefits. And I know for a fact that I'll look back one day and be so thankful that I made this decision to leave my little comfort bubble and experience the world. And yeah, again, it's a blessing. But guys, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. You know, if you want me to make more videos like this, I'd be more than happy to do it. With that being said, guys, remember, continue to learn, continue to grow. And there is no growth until you leave your comfort zone. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.